All right, folks, we have a new project. Taking a little break on the camper. Got a lot left to do on it, but it's time to get back to something that's been sitting for far too long and get this running again. So this is my 1965 Chevy C10 with a 66 bed on it. It was my great grandfather's truck. I got it when I was 13. I drove it as my main driver for years and then on and off. But it's been sitting and it's time to get it back on the road. So it needs a few things. And the first thing that it needs is just simply get it back running. I've got an electric fuel pump. Let's see if I can show you this under here. That right there might be dark, I'm not sure. But it stopped working. And that's like the third one of those I've gone through. So I'm gonna try to get it running. First thing, check the fluids, and then I've got kind of a checklist to go from there. So deal with the fuel, should have good fire still. Clean out the carburetor, change the oil, do all that stuff. Just get it running so I have a starting point. The transmission needs to be rebuilt because it's leaking quite a bit, and that's why I stopped driving it. I never could keep transmission fluid in it and let it sit because it would leak all out, and then you can't drive it without automatic transmission fluid. So transmission, then I'm gonna need to resurface all the brakes, all the lines. I've been wanting to do power, but I think I'm just gonna leave it be for now. Again, goal is just to get it on the road. And then there's one other thing that's pretty important, and we gotta deal with that. And that problem is gonna be this steering. This column is kind of shot. I'm not sure if I can rebuild that or not, but I'm thinking I'm just going to replace it all, maybe put power steering in at the same time. So this needs to be addressed. Yeah, I had big plans for the dash, so I'd cut the entire dash out and was going to do it kind of an airplane style with a bunch of switches and dials and either aluminum or wood, which is still the plan. So there's a lot to do, but first goal, just get this thing on the road. So today we're gonna get it running. Okay, let's just try a different method and just see if the fuel pump will accept power if it runs. Last time I messed with it, I didn't get anything out of it, but before I go buy a new one again, like I said, this is the third one. Let's just see if we can get anything out of it. And this is the easiest way to do it out here at the end of the wires. So eventually I'm probably gonna have to get down and take the fuel pump off, take the seat off, and get to the wires under it. But in the short term, let's just see if we get anything out of it. Just here as the wires go into the fancy dash, right? Never works right the first time. Let's see. This is it. This is the only thing that comes up, and that should be fuel pump, but it's not. That's overhead lights. So this, let's just leave this hooked up in here so we're grounded. Happens when you do it. Yeah. So that's wipers. See? Wipers. That one's obvious. So that's wipers. This is dome light right here. What is this? Other than headlights. Yep, headlights. Headlights. I can see them out there. Can you see them out there? You see it lighting up out on the fence? So I was right. All right, so that's headlights with the brights. Okay, so let's go back to the drawing board. I'm not getting anywhere with this. So After further investigation, that is the wire that goes to this overhead dome light right here. The only other wires under there should be the ground, which should be grounded to the truck, and the power for the fuel pump should come up here, because I'm pretty sure I switched it, lights and fuel pump, but I'm not finding that. So we're gonna do what I didn't want to do. Excuse me. We're gonna have to pull the seat, get under there, get the carpet out, start investigating further. Didn't want to do that, but hey, let's get to it. Okay, so the last one, let's see if we can get it. There's the fuel pump. There's the undercarriage of the vehicle. You've got a motor down there, transmission pan. Everything has kind of been sitting up for a long time. No cover for the flywheel or torque converter. I don't know where that went to. Yeah, a lot of work. And there is our last bolt right there above us. So figure this way you can get stuff in your eyes too, just like me being under here. Okay, so not really much to them. I'm surprised they're not lock bolts, but apparently not. Lock what? Nuts, I mean. Come on. All right, that one and that one over there. These two here. Now we should be able to pull that seat out. Just like that, minus the seat belt. If I pulled these covers off the seat, wonder if you'd know where the seats came out of. Came out of a 91 LeBaron. Maybe a 90, somewhere in there. Late 90s, late 80s, early 90s LeBaron bucket seats. With a little homemade bracket, little homemade wooden bracket to set the height and everything on them. I'm gonna put a bench seat back in, but they work great. Just a little tight in here. So, all right, there we go. Seat belts. Gotta have speaker box, of course. I guess I need to pull this panel. Figure out what we have going on down here. Because apparently I don't remember what I did, and I did all this. So get these 3 screws out of the way, which should pull this off here. See that? Little floor seal, trim, carpet. Now we get to the nest of what is going on here. And that is nasty. Okay, so that wire that's a ground. Excuse me. All right, let me get this taken apart and figure out what we have. Okay, so seats out, figured out where our wires went. I had them up there. This was apparently the fuel pump wasn't switched, it was fused only. Didn't remember that. Who knew? I guess I knew at one point. So I've broken it down to the positive and the negative coming right off the fuel pump and not getting anything out of it. So now the other thing I've been avoiding for so long is the tank back here, this fuel cell that needs to change right here. We used to have the original gas tank in these trucks was back here inside the vehicle with a inlet nozzle coming through the side. We took that out and it was awesome, and I hate that we changed it. We turned it around and bolted it to the back of the bed. I said again, this was a 66 bed, and because mine, the 65 bed on it was shot, it was just all beat up, and we found somebody pulling this one as a trailer. Pulled him over and asked if we could buy it off of him, bought it, towed it home, and used it ever since. But we took the rear panel off the old bed, put it in front of the original fuel tank, which was turned around and again bolted to the back of the bed here, and then we had somebody break some 12 gauge steel over the top with a little inlet. Was on that side now of the truck, but still a little gas inlet and a panel about, I don't know, 9-10 inches in. It was gorgeous, painted same color as the truck, and had some fuel problems, and we changed it. Had a mechanical fuel pump at that time, all the good stuff, and was having fuel issues, and we changed it front to back over in one night. We put the fuel cell in, new braided lines, carburetor, everything front to back, and it ran. It's what we needed to do, but man, I hated that we undid that because it looks so good, and that's what I want to get back to one day. But for now, I'll deal with this fuel cell, which is not really road correct, but yeah, so I get the fuel out of this. We'll get the fuel pump off, see if we can get the fuel pump to excite and work. If not, I get a new fuel pump. Did I hear somebody ask what's under the hood? What are we messing with here? Not much special. It had the inline 6 with the 3 on the tree for years, and still using the shifter on the column from the 3 on the tree transmission, 3-speed manual. Finally managed to break that inline 6, broke the nylon camshaft gears, so we put a small block short stroke V8 in it out of an Oldsmobile or Pontiac, something like that. I don't remember. I think it's like a 262, basically a 305 block, I guess, with a short stroke. Don't know. Found it on the side of side of the street on somebody's driveway. They had it hooked up to a radiator, sitting on the ground, started, ran. We bought it for a couple $100 and put it in again that weekend. I was driving within a day and a half, so there you go. Got some heating headers, I guess. I don't remember. 100 amp alternator, and it's been through all kinds of renditions. Had a 750 Holley double pumper, 600 Holley on it. Now it's got this just AutoZone special Edelbrock and a MSD ignition. Used to have an Excel ignition. The original radiator that we had a new core put in, a bigger core for the V8, which actually that came in nice because it doesn't even kind of get hot when everything's working right. So yeah, that is what's under the hood right now, and all of it's sitting in the ground kind of glory. So yeah, there you go. Okay, let's get as much fuel out of here as we can before we go taking the fuel pump off. So, gas can, and this little cheap fuel transfer pump. That's the blue. That's the side. So, put this down in the fuel. Same problem. They send these things all wrapped up. Almost smells like water. So it doesn't go straight down. It curls up and comes out. Should probably get a heat gun and heat it up till it goes straight, or tape it, zip tie it to something. You know what? Let's do this smart. Let's go get some zip ties and something straight, and so I can just zip tie it like that, poke it straight down into the fuel, and not have to worry about it curling back up out of the water, because that's the way they send them. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a coat hanger that I straightened, and we're going to tape it to this, and hopefully that's enough to hold it straight. I didn't want to use a stick or a little dowel or something, because I wanted to be able to curve it a little bit over towards this low corner. So since this is such a narrow opening, I wouldn't have a whole lot of room to play. So We're gonna try this method first with just a coat hanger. And probably one more right in here. That probably will get us started, right? What do you think? Think that'll get us started? I think so. Let's see. So, now, we should be able to put it right into the gas. And again, now, take the other end back into the gas can. Let's see if, there we go, look at that. Look at that, did you see how fast that went? All right, let's undo it. All right, how fast that worked that time. Put it in the fuel and pump it up. See it raising? That water level? Ah, water. It's supposed to be fuel, but it sure looks like water, doesn't it? I think, are we? Yeah, we're flowing. So what I'll do, there's a little gas in there, it's bubbling. See it down there? Scuzzy gas. Junky. Trash. So I'm gonna continue on and get this out, and we'll pull that fuel pump. Look how clear that is. Okay, so before I loosen the actual pump off, I'm going to disconnect the lines from it. Hopefully I have what I need here. Let's see, all right. Alright, so I'm going to leave that one on and pull this one off. Like that. Oh, that's a mess. And hopefully it'll have some gas in it, I'm sure. So let's move our tools out of the way. And let's tuck it up in there. All right, no, we got most of the gas, didn't we? Nicely done. Nasty, dirty. All right, we made all these braided lines. We bought pieces. They're not covers, they're actual braided lines. We bought a roll of braided line and all the fittings and did it front to back. It's a big job, and we did it in the course of a weekend, completely from that fuel cell all the way to a new carburetor, all new lines. I wish we wouldn't have, but I mean it ran. We did what we thought was best. It was just that setup that was on it was so nice. It looked so good. I think that was all my dad's idea too, to move that tank around like that. Yeah, that was all Dad's idea as far as I remember. That was a good idea because it looked good. I wish we still had it. Live and learn, right? Live and learn. Eventually it'll go back to that way. Or would it be blasphemous to say we might put an electric motor in this thing one day? What do you think about that? I think it would be awesome. Are we spinning on the other side? Let's see if we're spinning on the other side. I think we are. Yes, we are. Are we loose enough though? Nope. Alright, so that's a half as well. So give me a second to get a half. Okay, so now get this. Oh, it can't go there, can it? That can't go there. Fun fit. There we go. All right, we are on. Come on. No matter what you do, there's always stuff falling in your eyes. Every time. Never fails. Alright. So we're unbolted. And there we go. Fuel pump is hanging free. It's not loose yet. I have this bundle of wire right here. Need to cut that off and we should be able to get to it. All of the, not bundle of wire, that ground, and then all of this electric tape that I had put around there. Yeah, I used some scrap braided line here to go through the cab as a chafe to keep the wires from chafing. It worked, right? Good sharp knife. All right, see if I can pull that through. Now, all right, and that is our fuel pump. And let's see if we get any power out of it whatsoever. All right. turn the ports away so whatever junk is in there doesn't go flying at us. Hook the ground up, and nothing. That's 20 volts. Nothing that way. Nothing that way. So let's take it into the shop, take it apart, and see if we can't get it working. Okay, let's see what we're dealing with here. What do you say, 3/8? I think 3/8 was right. Now we're gonna break them loose with that little thing. Yeah, we got this. We have it, don't we? It's probably completely locked up with just nasty gas gunk. Get it cleaned up, that motor will probably spin free. At least that's what I'm hoping, because I don't want to buy a third or fourth, however many of these things I bought. And the first one was a high performance one, unnecessarily, but it was. Alright, never taken one of these apart before, so we're going to see what we're working with, right? Kind of look in there. Yeah, something's stuck. There we go. Try to figure out what we're working with before I start pulling on things. Like that piece is probably alright, so it looks to be a screen. I mean, that's the gasket. And this is the screen here. Alright. Gonna guess that's not supposed to be in there. Is it pressed together? What do you think? So not even kind of. We'll have to loosen that up. Okay. Cover. Oh, sweet. So that's going to be connected to the motor. Makes it kind of a wobble pump, I bet. Let's see if that moves. No, it doesn't. All right. So that seems pretty basic, right? So fuel comes in, that thing spins, it flies out these little plates to ride flush against the wall as it spins. I don't know if it wobbles or what, but that'll create the draw, the low pressure, I believe. Start drawing in the fuel in this chamber, and the out is going to be, so I guess it's just kind of a wet sump, just draws fuel in this whole area, and as it comes into this inner chamber, it goes through what looks like that section, that port, and out to I've got a fuel regulator, fuel pressure regulator on the under the hood, so it goes to that, then from there through a couple filters, pressure gauge, and the fuel pump. So let's put that on so nothing falls out at the moment, and let's pull the top of the motor and see what we're working with on it. Getting lucky on these. Because if we can get the motor to turn over, I think we can clean it up and put it back on and get some fuel flow, right? Whoops. All right, bolts, screen, brushes. All right, let's clean that out a little bit. See, it's pretty dirty. Still plenty of brushes left. Put a little brush. Inside is nice and filthy. What about the commutator? See, look at that, not even moving. So that's where we're seized up. Let's pull this back off. Yeah, we can get this thing working. See how it spins? It's interesting how it is off center. I'm sure it's like that on purpose. Otherwise they wouldn't have these little slide releases to create the seal. So that is interesting. Engineering. That's what's cool about engineering. So, and there's one of the plates. That's what I didn't want to happen, because I want to know which side is rubbing against the wall. I don't know that it matters, but I would prefer it to be the same, because it's already ground a relationship against the wall, right? Because it's been doing that for quite some time. So let's put this back on. So we're pretty snug in there. Gonna need to free up, what is this thing called? The commutator? Isn't that right? So let me get some of these, and I will pull these, and I'll put them all in the same orientation over here off to the side. So that is the outside. That is the outside. That is the outside. And this last one here, right? Okay. Now, is there any way, I to clear that. Let's see. All right, what happens if, let's just see how much, let's brush this off into the garbage here. Trash can down here. All right. Just because I don't want to know if we're working with anything. Let's get that brush back in. All right. So here, as you see, the brushes have to clear and get around. I forget the name. I used to know the names. Something in here is a commutator. Correct me, tell me what's wrong, tell me what I'm doing wrong, but there we go. Now that we broke it free, what are we working with here? Look at that. Smoking. But she's spinning. Did you see that? Smoke coming out? Because it's fighting. Let's pull this back off. Yeah, need to clean it up. Y'all smell that motor? You can always tell the smells. But it was spinning. That part is for sure. So what we'll do is there's got to be a way to clear this off, and I'm guessing it has to do with these. Like there's an Allen or release, or let's see what happens when I try an Allen bolt down in, or an Allen wrench down in here. Do we get anything? That's not small enough. Can't hardly tell what I'm working with here. So there's got to be a way to get that off, so I can pull the wire assembly out and clean down in there. I don't know if that's a bushing or a bearing. If it's a bearing, it might be ruined. If it's a bushing, it might, that might need replacing. So all right, let me go try to figure this out, but that's what we need to do now. Get this cleaned up. I think it'll work for what we needed to do, and go from there. Okay, so it's cleaned up, and now look. I could use a little bit of oil, but in the meantime, let's just see how we're doing now. So put that back on, the brushes back on, back in. They're not sticking anymore. Now that they're clean, the brushes aren't sticking in there like they were. So let's get them on. Just work them around the top of the motor there. There we go. So with that, let's see what we are working with now. So let's see. Flip this over, and we are spinning. Sweet. It's not very fast. It's not a big motor. It's electric, right? So it's a motor. I might put a bit of Marvel mystery oil in there, just to lubricate, a couple drops in. So can't forget to put the vanes back in. For now, we'll just reuse this old gasket. Put the screen back in, and go put it back on and see what we're working with. Sound like a plan? All right. We stole the battery from the camper. We have oil. Did not pull the carburetor and clean it. I just want to see what this is going to do. So we did hook up the same cleaned up fuel pump. It's not leaking, it's turning freely, and I ran it off a DeWalt battery. So we'll see what we have. I put about 2.5 gallons back in. Everything is hooked up. So let's see if we get fuel pump. We have fuel pump. Let's see if we have pressure. Not yet. Might not be enough fuel in the tank yet to get above, because it's got a gravity feed, that thing. I'm not seeing any fuel in there, so let's see. Kind of hear it. Give it just a second to prime. So let's put a little bit more fuel and try in just a second. All right, attempt number 2. Oh, I hear fuel pump. Sounds like it's getting fuel. But I do not see it making it up here. Which is not cool. All right, let's go under and see what we have. It's turning. It feels like it's fueling. It's trying to push it. It's got a bit of a leak, I believe. See right in there, that's wet. Might just be out of the hose. I might not have tightened the hose enough, but no. Yeah, see, it's leaking out of here. There's a rebuild gasket kit. If this works, I can get the rebuild kit. But yeah, it's not pressing. Disappointing that we're not pushing it up in here. Alright, so I'll do one more thing. I'll pull the fuel off and relieve the top side pressure out of the lines and see if that lets it prime. Other than that, we'll probably just have to either try a rebuild kit for that pump or get a new one. So okay, So something made me think it was wired backwards. Even though I had the black to black and the red to the positive like it was, something when I took it apart, it sounded wrong. Like maybe it was bubbling in the gas tank but not pressurized. So I quickly just loosely fit the wires backwards just to see, and it immediately bogged down, built pressure, and blew my crusty old fuel line. But you see in that crusty old fuel filter there is fuel that fast. It took just a second. So I'm gonna clean up these fuel lines where they were leaking, maybe move the this pressure gauge back right here, move that back a little bit to make myself a little more room for more line. And because it was just blowing out of here, you can see where it's all wet, probably smell it from where you're at. But yeah, clean that and then see what's going to happen. Cool. All right, attempt 3. Have it rewired. Seat just left it out this time. Fix the fuel lines. Let's put the key in. Fuel. It's really bogging down. Oh yeah, we're getting pressure. So let's see what happens when we start. Anticlimactic. I need a better connection on the battery. But we are pumping fuel, man. Big time. Big time. Just clean up these connections. Put that battery in there a little better. All right. See what happens now. What? It's running. It is running. All right, so what? Right off the bat, started, got it running. Now, it wasn't idling that great. The electric choke probably didn't kick in because it's not even plugged in. Now it is. All right, let's play with it for some more. See if we can get it to stay running. Hold on, I'm gonna put the seat in, okay? Stand by. All right. Now I can actually sit in here and hit the gas. It's not running well. It's smoking a little bit. Smoking a little bit. Oh yeah. Get a whiff of all that gas. Hey, but we're one step closer. Alright, we'll play with it for a minute, but yep, one step closer. So we're getting gas to it. We've got fire. We've got some amount of compression. I can work with this. I can get the transmission pulled and do my best to try to rebuild the transmission. Steering, brakes. Once it's running reliably, take the bad boy on the road, man. All right. Yeah. So that's step one. Got it running in one day of the 65 Chevy project. In the comments below, let me know how to do this stuff better. If you know how to work on these things, if you know how to rebuild a turbo 350 automatic transmission, I think that's the 4-speed. Let me know what kit to use, what's best to do it, because I've never done it before. I've never even taken transmission apart. I've done motor and other stuff, but you see something I'm doing wrong or something I should change, let me know. Obviously there's a lot of stuff on here that was just done to make it work. So some of the stuff you gotta realize I know needs to be changed down the road, but right now it's just step one. So leave a like if you do. We'll come back with the next installment of another piece of the puzzle for the 65 Chevy. Thanks for watching.